Hello everyone and welcome back to another video game video. Today I want to take a few minutes and talk about the Avengers Open Beta that just concluded. I played it over the weekend. I believe it came out Friday and it was available Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I believe. I played through it twice. I tried to record footage from it each time and it was just really choppy. I'm running a little on a kind of an older computer. Most game footage I can usually capture pretty well, but this Avengers footage, depending on what was going on in the certain levels, was just really choppy. I tried it again with various settings and wasn't able to get anything that was actually usable. I thought the demo was pretty fun. So demo starts off in San Francisco, and you basically play small parts of each of for each character. So you basically get to play as first character you play as is Thor, then you play as Iron Man, then you play as Hulk, then you play as Captain America, and finally Black Widow. In the second part of the game, you play as Hulk and Ms. Marvel. You're mostly playing as Hulk in that part. You're playing as Ms. Marvel just a little bit, but I want to talk about the characters and what I thought about the game. So the first level, the first character you get to play as is Thor. I thought Thor was one of probably my favorite characters in the game. A lot of the other characters feel kind of derivative of other, kind of like this is mostly like a beat 'em up game. So a lot of the other characters felt kind of derivative, but Thor felt really good because you can basically you have Mjolnir, you can smack enemies with that. The cool thing with him is you can also throw Mjolnir and pin people against walls or other objects, and then you can press the button again to actually recall it to your hand. And the cool thing is you can actually hit multiple enemies when you do this, so you can basically throw it at somebody and pin them against. I think that's pinning them up against like a bus or a van. And then when I recalled it, another enemy had run in front of me, and that enemy also got hit when Mjolnir actually was returning. He's got a few different like God of Thunder abilities, which are pretty cool. So each character usually has, I think, three different abilities, and I'm using an Xbox 360 controller. So each one is tied to the left bumper, the right bumper, or I think like their ultimate ability, or like there's one where you press both. Um, so Thor felt really really strong. Next up was Iron Man. I didn't particularly like Iron Man in this game, at least a little bit that I got to play as him. Because like first part he's flying and you're following behind him and he's aiming his gauntlets and he's kind of like firing at like enemies like that. Um, the aiming on that I didn't particularly like. I didn't feel like I was like really hitting anything. I mean, I was hitting some stuff sometimes, and I felt that was it also felt like he was flying really slowly. I suppose if they actually had Iron Man flying at full speed, it would just be like too fast for people to actually play. But after that, you get into another fight with some of the other these soldiers you're fighting, and you then can use one of his ultimate abilities is the I think it's the unibeam. So basically, his arc reactor goes up and shoots a beam out, and then you can pull the beam left and right across the screen, and you basically fry a bunch of different enemies with that. So that was kind of interesting, and then you can also like hover with Iron Man as well as the gauntlets can actually they can fire off like very quick single shots that don't do a lot of damage, but then those shots can also be charged up as well. So I thought Iron Man was all right. He didn't really feel that great to me. Next up was Hulk, and Hulk is really, really, really repetitive. You play as Hulk quite a bit in the second part of the demo, and I kind of got bored playing as Hulk, just because you're basically just smashing. That's all you're doing. So he has like a regular attack. He's a strong attack. You can do a thing where you jump, you hit A to jump, and you hit Y on your controller to kind of like do like a dive bomb attack. And I felt like I was just doing that over and over and over again with him. In the first part of the demo, you're on the Golden Gate Bridge with him, and you're basically just running down the bridge, trying to chase down various enemies. There's some tanks that you're having to fight off as well. So Hulk to me just didn't feel that great. I do like his thunderclap ability, where he basically grabs his hands and smacks them like that, and it sends a shockwave out and does a bunch of damage to a bunch of different enemies. They also managed in the second part of the demo to make Hulk feel really weak. What I mean by that is the second stage you're in with is him and Ms. Marvel. There's gonna be a little bit of spoilers in here for the game, but him and Ms. Marvel are traveling through like I think it's the Pacific Northwest. You're like in the forests of that area, and you're looking for a hidden archive that Iron Man or Tony Stark has put there, and you're looking for like a backup, like a Jarvis backup for some reason. Um, you're fighting these various robots, and these robots are taking multiple hits from Hulk, so it just feels like he's really really weak. Like usually, like a robot, if it gets hit by Hulk, is going to be exploded right away, right? These robots take multiple hits. They take like several shots to actually destroy. Um, it's kind of like if in Star Wars Episode One, if the battle droids that Obi Wan and Qui Gon are fighting would have taken multiple lightsaber hits to destroy. So like they usually get done in one swing of the saber. In this thing, it feels like these robots should be getting done with one punch. So that kind of made him feel a little bit weak to me. Um, I'm not really sure about that, but it just felt kind of strange. Next hero you play up as after that is let me see. So we did Thor, we did Iron Man. There's Hulk. Oh, you play as Captain America next. Captain America, being one of my favorite characters, felt almost like the most derivative in the game for the very little amount that I got to play with him. His combat feels very much like it's based on the combat in the Arkham Asylum games. So you're basically just you're not you're not blocking with him or anything like that, but you can use a shield to do that as well. Um, the part that I felt like Arkham Asylum was when there's these guards that come in that have shields. You have to do these. Basically have to press your directional stick towards them and press B to flip over them and then attack them from behind. So that felt like it was kind of what Batman does in the Arkham games. He has a cool ability where he can throw a shield and it'll bounce around and take out a bunch of enemies. So that felt pretty good, but overall he felt kind of derivative. Next up was Black Widow, and Black Widow was used in the game in a boss fight with Taskmaster. So Black Widow's abilities are mostly punching and kicking. She could also pull out her pistols, as well as she has a grappling hook that she can use. It's like you're using it to like counter some of his attacks. This is one part of the game I really didn't like because Taskmaster is supposed to be able to kind of like learn about from basically he's like, hey, I see how you're doing this attack. I know it. I now know how to do that attack. And it never felt like he was actually like countering anything of mine or actually learning any of my attacks. So that felt like I think maybe they could have just done a different boss or a different character for this boss fight. And it's very much like just like follow the pattern and then basically once you learn the boss's pattern, you can easily defeat them. So Taskmaster, the first part of the level, he's got a jetpack. He'll basically dive down at you, and then what you have to do is you basically just dodge at the right moment, and then when he's flying away from you, you can like fire your pistols at him and stuff like that. Second part of the boss fight, he's on the ground with you, and you're basically just using the grappling hook to kind of he'll do something. You basically when he flashes, you hit the grappling hook, and then you can do a few different attacks with him that way. And then the third part of the boss fight, you get one of Black Widow's abilities, which makes her go invisible, and then you just basically beat Taskmaster down until he's defeated, and that's it. At no point in the fight did I ever feel like again like he was actually learning my abilities. So that I didn't really care for. Next part, next is that's the first half of the demo. The second half of the demo is back to Hulk and about to say almost like Captain Marvel, but Ms. Marvel. And you spend most of the time playing as Hulk. Hulk does have a thing where he can basically like rip out parts of the ground and throw them at enemies, so that was okay. But this is where it got kind of repetitive of him, where you're basically just smashing these robots over and over and over again. Um, about halfway through that part of the level, you switch off to Miss Marvel, and I actually really liked Miss Marvel. Probably the two characters I liked the most in this demo were probably Thor and Miss Marvel. So Miss Marvel, she's got the stretchy limbs, so she can stretch her limbs out to attack various enemies. She can also use her limbs kind of like Spider-Man would use his webs. So there's a part where you can jump across a big pit. You basically just jump, and then you can use her stretchy limbs to kind of grab onto like the roof and swing that way and stuff like that. And she could also do a thing where she can actually like you can actually hit a button and go into an aiming mode because there are some aerial enemies that you have to fight with her. And when you do that, it goes into this thing where you can basically just aim her fist, and then it's just her fist will go like that, stretch out, and hit those various enemies that you're aiming at. So that's pretty cool. She's got one ability, which is the high five, which is a pretty cool crowd control thing because basically you want to do it when you have a bunch of enemies in front of you, and her hand kind of extends like that, going forward or going forward that way. Like you get the camera to aim up. There we go, like that, and it just kind of like knocks enemies around. She can also use Embiggen, which makes her into like giant size, which she does like additional damage and that kind of thing. Um, I don't know if I'm going to be getting this game right away. It does seem like it's well designed. I think like the graphics are pretty good. But the gameplay itself does feel like derivative of other games like God of War and stuff like that, to where you're basically getting these new abilities, you're upgrading abilities, you're finding these treasure chests that will give you like components to upgrade stuff. So it feels like it's competently made, but it feels it's very repetitive, at least of Hulk, and then derivative of other games. So I don't think I'm gonna pick it up right away. I think I'll probably wait until it goes onto like a Steam sale or something like that. So again, those are my thoughts for the Marvel Avengers game. Again, I played it on PC. Tried to capture footage, like I said earlier, and it didn't really turn out very well. I'm running on an older system. System is about 8 years old right now, so it still played pretty well. There were a few kind of like hiccups here and there, which it could be because it was a beta release. But they should probably be very close to being done because the game comes out in just like less than like a week and a half. I don't know if there's going to be any kind of microtransactions. I imagine there's going to be some kind of microtransaction things to purchase, like stuff to upgrade characters with and things like that. I think Spider-Man is also supposed to be in the game. Before I remember reading, he is exclusive to the PlayStation version, I think, because Sony has the rights to the video game Spider-Man stuff. So I think I remember reading somewhere that he was exclusive to PlayStation. But again, I'm probably not going to pick it up right away. I'm probably going to wait for like a sale or something like that. But those are my thoughts on the new the open beta for Marvel Avengers. That's going to do for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Take care.